All right, we'll call the meeting, January 8th meeting of the Clear Area School Board to order. We'll start with the affirmation and proof of publication of agenda. First roll call. See, messed up the first thing I
Janet Mathis. Here. Earl Wallace.
did. Here.
Peggy McCormick.
Here.
And Isaac Wallace.
Here.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm here. I'm here.
Sorry.
Now, we have the affirmation.
all right. I, Kimberly Johnson, hereby certify that the notice of the Kickapoo Area Schools regular school board meeting was caused to be published in the Epitaph News and posted on billboards in the following places on 1325 Kickapoo K-12 School Building, Citizens First Bank, and Viola Post Office.
You. Do you need a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Just doing voice votes?
We can do roll call, yep.
Roll call, okay.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis. Yes. And Isaac Wallace.
Yes. All right, audience to visitors and board members. Do you have any visitors?
No one called in, no.
The board member? Seeing none, we'll move on to the expense vouchers and receipts.
Not hearing much, I'll make a motion that we approve the expense vouchers and receipts.
I'll second.
Motion by Janet, second by Bo.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes. All right, jump to the consent agenda. We have minutes from December 11th meeting. The annual payment for the community building use, $800 is the last year. I assume taking the same thing for this year. Field trips, senior music trip to Madison, Milwaukee, and the travel club in Michigan. And a number of donations as laid out on the sheet.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Nice. Earl, second by Peggy.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes. All right, we'll jump down to our single item action agenda. I mean, the open enrollment space available for the 2025-2026 school year.
Great, so currently we are capped at 50 per class. And I guess I would recommend that we continue that cap at 50 per class.
Was that all the way through?
Yes, 4K through 12.
I'll be close on any of the classes, or are we?
Yeah.
Sophomores,
Sophomores.
pretty close, but that's the only one.
I could see the elementary, but do we need to, just high school, is it just as important to cap it? Because, I mean, these kids aren't mostly all sitting in the same class.
Yeah, I think when we talked last time, we thought 50 was certainly, I mean, again, not, yes, definitely not as critical, but I think if we leave it at 50, I don't know that we'd have any.
Okay.
So could you always go over in the high school group if need be without us changing any of this or no?
Well, that's, I guess,
And I don't know if we get a chance to change it.
I don't think we
I
do.
think you have to
We
set it-
don't.
set it from
No,
here.
I think if it's set, then I think we're,
But if kids move into the district
Well, then-
after the open enrolled students are already approved,
Then
it's over, right?
Right.
Over
Other
the
things
numbers.
wouldn't be able to accept any more open enrollment.
Right, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, it's just the open enrollment part.
But we've never had an instance with high school, right, where we have with some of the elementary.
Not with this number. We had previously,
we
we
raised it.
changed
We
that.
raised it last year.
We raised it last year to where we thought it
Okay.
wouldn't hopefully be
Yeah.
ever an issue.
And then the special programs, you have numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion and approve the enrollment at 50 per class.
Did you say without no spec ed available, no room available? Is that correct?
I think spec ed would just kind of trump that if we have space.
Right.
Or what do you
space,
think?
Yeah, okay, or something about.
If we don't have
determine
space
for.
because of,
Just the enrollment, but the spec ed, like I know Katie said we can't take any more spec ed in the program, so that would be,
Yeah, that goes by.
By that
By
specific.
that specific.
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So that's gotta be spelled out in this or no?
no.
No, it's
okay.
okay, that's part of it.
Motion by Earl, need a second?
I'll second.
Janet Mathis? Yes. Earl Wallace?
Yes.
Peggy McCormick?
Yes.
Bo Schrader?
Yes.
Isaac Wallace?
Yes. All right. Start with the informational agenda. For discussion, number one is the 2025-2026 school calendar.
Yeah, so, we did, encourage staff input and voice. So there was a committee and, this was the calendar that they brought forward. Basically, it's identifying kind of when they would like breaks within the school year is really all that was kind of negotiable with the calendar, because obviously the number of days, number of in-service days and so on that were required. But this is what they felt was a good working calendar for everyone. And then with this, listed in the little box where it says we have 178 days and 186 staff days, there's that consistency with how we've offered our 4 snow days for students and then 2 snow days for staff. And then to meet the 4 that the students get, the staff would continue to work, but had the option to work from home on those days where the weather was bad. This last year, I think they wanted to try moving parent-teacher conferences during that Thanksgiving week and realized that that was not a good idea. So we moved that back. Otherwise, kind of consistent with the in-service days before school. One of those days, I believe it's the 26th, we will go to Westby. We'll have open house during that week. We have September for Horse and Colt Show. End of October, parent-teacher conferences. Christmas break, I think this one too, they were recognizing the music trip in April, so there were a few more days off over that Easter break.
Oh, that's cool.
The blue is January 23rd is our in-service, that's kind of consistent every year. And then a day off in February, March, April. Any questions or inconsistencies that you might note?
Teachers kind of help put it together, I guess. They should be happy with
That's what
what
they, yeah.
they get here, but
They'll still complain.
You got broad shoulders.
Oh, no, because I did the same thing and I used to complain about it too.
And with this, we're still over middle school, high school, close to 10 days and the elementary 20. So there's still room even with allowing 4 days for students. 4 days. We're still beyond our days should we have 2-hour late starts or.
Okay.
And I guess it's just informational at this point, and then next month we bring it back for approval.
Once we approve it, you do put it out on the website somewhere. right,
Yep.
So families have access to it right away.
Which one's that? They just approved 2 more years.
I noticed that
Instead
in
of
my
just
son's
1 year.
schools, that they're always a year ahead of where
Yeah.
we are with their schedule.
Oh,
Like my
really?
grandson, yeah.
I guess for people who plan out vacations or something. that would be fun.
I'm fine as long as we put it up.
All right,
Alright, another discussion on the calendar. We'll jump to discussion item 2, the quarterly budget report.
Okay, did anyone have any questions on it? If not, I'll just roll through a couple of points that I saw.
Very well.
So since I sound horrible, I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Just some key areas that I saw. So that first one at the top, the overall revenue expense summary. We are 50% through the year, but we have not expended 50% of our budget in either Fund 10 or 27. Specifically looking at the Fund 27 revenue, we've only gotten about 7% of that, which is right on track for where we were last year. A lot of our revenue doesn't get to us till, actually, we got some this month and then more actually in June. So that's why a lot of that is so lagging. Our salary and fringes, those all looked good, kind of right where they're supposed to be. Our elementary expenses, those top 2, they looked good. We have spent a little more than 50% in our other objects. And most of those are membership dues, so all of those we pay at the beginning of the year, so that's why it's kind of front loaded like that. Middle school, high school expenses, those all kind of are right in line. Our co-curriculars, most of those look pretty good, but our non-capital objects, which are our supplies, that is a little over 50%, mainly because we've started our second season of sports and we have a lot of spending at the beginning of the season, not as much at the end is typically how it goes. Our computer tech expense looks pretty good. District office, everything looks in line there. Our insurance expense summary, that is our property and liability insurance, not our health insurance. With those, again, we pay all those at the beginning of our fiscal year, so that really isn't gonna change much for the remainder of the year. Our HSA expenses, those should be right at about 1/3 because that's how much we've paid out so far through December. Our staff will get their next installment on the January payroll, but right now those look good. Transportation expenses, most of those look good. Our other objects, that bottom line, we have way overspent in that. It was only $100 budget, so it's easy to kind of overspend on that. The reason for that was Jeff enrolled in a membership that he hadn't in a couple of years. So I didn't account for it because it hadn't been there for a while. And then this year he decided to enroll in that. So we did overspend in that one by a little bit. Our transportation expenses, that is all looking good. Nothing overspent there. Our custodial expenses, we did go over in our other objects in that, and it's actually the same situation as our transportation expenses. DJ enrolled in in one additional membership that he hadn't in a few years, so I didn't account for it, but it was only by a couple $100 that it went over. Our maintenance expense, that all looks good. Same with utility, and our food service is running kind of right on track, how it should be.
I have a question about food service. They had a pretty healthy balance in, I don't know if you call it a reserve or carryover type thing. Are they still, I mean, we're supposed to be trying to kind of work that down a little bit, but are they still good? And I'd like to have a little bit of a buffer.
Yes, we can have, it's either up to, I think it's 3 months of expenses in there, anything more than that, DPI yells at us.
Okay.
Um,
And they were yelling at us to say yes.
yes, they were, we still have that reserve, but we have spent it down a little bit, just so that we don't get in trouble with DPI anymore.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, jump down to the self-funded health insurance report.
Me again. So, there should be 2 pages for our self-funded health insurance in there. The first one is our current fiscal year. Right now, it only has expenses through November. I have not gotten all of our December expenses yet, so, and it's actually the insurance center that puts all of this together. We're still running fairly well. Right now, if we were to compare what we would have spent if we had that fully insured, where we're just paying a premium to a company, our savings are about $75,000 compared to what we've actually spent. So right now, it's running good. We're hoping to keep it like that. The staff has done a wonderful job with trying to find ways that they can help save the cost. I know a big expense that we had previously was people going to the emergency room when it wasn't always an emergency, and we don't see that really anymore. So thus far, it's going really well. If we go to the next page, it will show our 2023-24 data. And we actually still have one more run out month that needs to be put on this. Our run out period goes through December. Talking with the data analysts at the insurance center, they don't believe we're gonna have anything in December for our run out period, so they felt fairly confident that the numbers we're seeing tonight are probably going to be the final for 23-24. And with what we spent compared to what they projected us to have spent with a fully insured, we saved about $90,000 last year, switching to this model. Right now, this switch to the self-funded has been a good call for us, but I know when we switched, we were told in a 10-year span, you're gonna have 2 really good years, 2 really bad years, and then 6 average years. So right now, we're still learning, is this an average year for us, or these are 2 really good years? So still early on, but right now it's running really well. The staff, from what I've heard, seem to enjoy it.
It's probably a relatively good year considering we didn't have very much over the specific, you know, whatever stop loss thing.
And we had how many babies this year?
Yeah. So we've had a lot of babies. So many babies, but that's just kind of the age of this staff. is those-
Just,
Some of us have.
but
Some
that,
of
Babies
us.
over here.
Yes, not all of us, but yeah, there've been, yes, lots of babies this year. It's okay. It's exciting times for everyone having those.
it's just to say like that you're still saving that much even though we've had.
Yeah, lots of babies.
Yeah.
Probably the only thing that hasn't worked out as good is what they kind of pitched that idea of looking of shop, you don't have to shop, but they would shop for other, if you need certain tests and stuff, don't just have to make the appointment at, say, Gunderson, because that's, you know, where 90% of our care is.
Yeah,
But call this number and we'll, if there's savings to be made, you actually get a share, but we unfortunately haven't had much luck in convincing people to.
no, there have only been a
Even
couple
though-
people that have taken advantage of that.
So that could help.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because they do truly get that kickback on their paycheck, so.
And the neighborhood clinic has helped, I'm sure. So.
I think we've utilized the neighborhood clinic a lot, and I think there are some instances where you're seeking a service and it's just that practice of calling, like I know I called for where to take my son for his wisdom teeth, or where can I go to the dermatology, so I think a lot of people it's become our new norm, like, instead of just going and then.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah, I see a lot of positives there. And I think we would also like to try to support this and try to support healthy individuals and recognize stress is to do some more wellness.
Yeah.
And I think we have some staff who are really interested in the pool. So if there's a way that we can kind of support them going to do water aerobics or start a walking club, but that's kind of what we've kind of talked about in the office anyway, about what are ways that we can really encourage and support the health of our staff for more reasons than one. I mean, it will help our bottom line, but it also helps our people.
Awesome. Moving down to the superintendent's report.
Right, well, updated on one aspect I was going to mention is that we're looking at ways to encourage healthy habits with our staff and drinking lots of water. You did notice with the donations, continuing to seek, I guess, quotes. I did get a few more quotes about the sign. Some community members are really showing a passion that they want to move towards establishing that digital sign. I heard back from, and I'm not really sure how to say his name because we've just communicated on email. Is it Rody or Roddy? Roddy from Basketball. So next week he's gonna bring an LED demo trailer and then kind of go over more of the matrix, the pitch and the function. And then that should kind of finish kind of that investigation or understanding of digital signs. And then we can sit down and look at all of the different quotes and we'll respond to our population that have been providing donations to say we'd like to see a new sign. And then, you know, take steps to advertise or seek more funding beyond, you know, the district supporting it, but bringing it in through donations. I think that's a real possibility with the interest that we've had. The umbrella of, you know, I think we've talked about doing some more like marketing type strategies or building communication, telling our story. So I talked to Phil, me, and Aaron and I are going to go and start that process of being interviewed by Phil, me on the radio. I think that reaches a lot of.
Ithaca and Riverdale do that like once a month at least.
Or more. Richland Center's twice a
Well,
month.
Richland Center's.
Twice a month, Riverdale and River Valley.
Oh, and River Valley. too.
River Valley and Weston.
So I think that'd be
They're
great
using on the
to kind of get into that.
Yep, we're gonna get in that on that calendar. So first it will be Aaron and I go over, and then I just think hearing from different voices and being able to tell our story.
Just tell me what, so I know, listen in the truck.
All right,
I'll
We're
send
gonna
you
be
an
on,
update.
Earl.
And I don't know if they still do it, but Catherine used to go over and do. when
She
for
does
her
some
music,
musical,
so, you
yeah.
know, more of the clubs and
She
stuff
does
that get
some of
involved with
that.
it too. That's great.
so yeah, so it'll kind of be more of a regular practice
Yeah.
to utilize that. And then going back to the insurance, as we're entering this new year of 2025, Janice from the Insurance Center, she's kind of our contact there, shared some exciting news. The Insurance Center will be joining with the Alera Group, one of the nation's leading insurance and financial service firms. So in asking what that meant or how does that change what
We're happy now.
Yeah. But from what I understand, we just are, have an opportunity for more services, more benefits. So access to additional services, including enhanced compliance supports, expanded coverage options tailored to specific needs. And then just that strength and stability that a nationally recognized organization can provide to for those innovative solutions and expertise on a healthcare level. We continue, and she assured me we continue to work with our team. It's still going to be very personal and professional. All of that remains the same. They are the same name, location. We are benefiting because they are adding to their group. They're doing really well. So just announced, so I'm sure we'll get more information and understand those services better moving forward. Another part of that, telling our story and communicating more about who is Kickapoo and how do we get the word out. Going to spend more time kind of sharing what is happening in the school. And today, I know I mentioned this before, but Jeremy Lee hosts this lunch topics. And so staff and students go into a classroom during lunch and talk about some topics that are important to students, and not only necessarily their academics or their sports in general, but really some character building. And today, and it's really great because there are several staff that actually have conversations even before the kids come in. There's interaction with kids to find out, you know, where are their thoughts? Where do they see their perceived needs to be better? You know, what do they struggle with? It's just really an open conversation where they get to share. And then the staff, like the principal, the AD, the guidance counselor, coaches, I'm in there, some teachers, but it's just really a strong area, opportunity for all of us to kind of talk about. Today it was about confidence and how do you gain confidence, and adults sharing their experiences and talking about productive struggle. So I'll be putting out a post and kind of recognizing that, because it's really impressive what the staff come together to do during a lunch period where they can have time to themselves, but they choose to spend time with kids talking about things that are on their mind and ways to make them better. So I think that's a really great area to start telling our story, is that what happens even on just a lunch period here at Kickapoo. Today we had Hunter come back. I don't know if you remember Hunter from TC Network.
Sure.
So we did get our cameras updated, and they are phenomenal.
That was one of my points. I'll second that.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
To be able to go through and do the things they do now is amazing.
So, yeah, just the efficiency and the clarity and the ease of using the system. And then this is communicated to Vernon County also. So as a safety measure, they have access to all of our cameras. And there's even, like, just the functions are just amazing. So that happened today. We did find 2 additional cameras, I guess. So we will be putting a camera up in the wrestling community room, and then having discussions on the 3 other locations that Hunter had suggested were over the playground, in the elementary gym, or the upper playground, or the upper parking lot. So we'll engage in those conversations, but not only did we gain a phenomenal system with our cameras upgrade, but he had 2 additional cameras. It's like, you know, you haven't worn your winter coat for a while and you pull out a $5. $5, like, oh yeah, cool. And I know Erin's gonna touch on this. I'm just gonna kind of say that with our new custodial staff, we're getting them trained in CPO. So I purchased on the P card 3 trainings for the custodians, and they are taking part in getting trained for the pool. And just a huge shout out to Erin, because he's taken a lot of the leadership to really guide and work with that staff. All of them being new, looking at a really great potential for that staff. We're really impressed with them. But a lot of things to figure out, and I think Erin will talk more on that. And a shout out to Andy, because he is working really hard on this Act 20 stuff, and we're really ahead of the game.
Maybe.
Pull the rug out from under your feet.
Might be.
Yeah. But so, yeah, I appreciate both of them for all of the hard work that they're doing to meet the needs of all of our students and keep our staff well served. And that is, I believe, all that I have. Oh, I wanted to mention one more thing. I kind of threw this I wanted to comment on our Pink Army, and the display in the paper sharing, going to Badger State and being recognized. And I know that not only are they recognized here on a podium for competing and winning, but several comments on their behaviors and the servant leadership that is identified within that team. So that is all that I have.
I got the little one's ankle first. Principals, the, Friday is the January books for breakfast. So like come in and have a donut from Quick Trip and read a book with a kid, we'll be here. If you would have been in this room the week before Christmas, the entire thing was surrounded by presents. And they came from the Richland Hospital, the Westby Rod and Gun, Viola Fire Department. They take kids to shop with a firefighter, Reedstown Advancement Association, and the Kickapoo Booster Club. And kids from younger siblings, even that were in school all the way up through high school, it's amazing how much stuff was in here. And I made sure I sent thank yous to all of them, their appreciation for what they did. They made a nice Christmas for a lot of kids. The Act 20 stuff, kindergarten and first grade plans have all been sent home. Second and third grade, Sherry and I finished up the screener, so those are all done except for a kid that was gone. And letters will go home tomorrow, informing parents if their kid was below a certain percentile. And then the teachers are gonna do the fast bridge that we always do as a diagnostic. And then I'll write up the plans and then we'll send them home. We were a little worried about second grade. Yeah. We've got some stuff to work on in second grade, but we knew that and we're working on it. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade all had U-Fly training today with Jim and Meredith from CISA. And they spent, half of them were in the morning, half were in the afternoon. I talked to them after school, everybody's really excited about it. They think it'll be the key of the foundations that we're missing into reading.
What trainings?
U-Fly is kind of what it is. It's an intensive phonics program.
Okay.
So when Jim came earlier this year and we had, Sherry did it and Tracy, we tested every kid with this really great reading assessment that's free. So we have data that shows every kid from kindergarten through phonological awareness and then early phonics skills, blending long vowels, short vowels, digraphs. There's a ton of stuff. And then what we did is they gave me all the results and I put them all into a spreadsheet labeled by each kid and where they are. And then Jim and I sat down because he used to be a reading specialist. Well, he still is, but we sat down and looked at where our holes were. And our holes were in some of those foundations of reading. Our kids weren't getting blending fast enough. Phonological awareness, we're doing okay, but so what it's allowed us to do is it showed us, hey, this is what you're missing. So Into Reading has foundations, has all of those skills. It also has everything else. So when you get it doesn't have enough. So what we're going to do is our Into Reading is what everybody uses. We're gonna take that out, the foundation part, instead of using their slides, we're gonna use this U-Fly, which is more intensive and better because it is more in depth. It goes into gives kids more practice. So instead of spending 20 minutes a day, which everybody does with the Into Reading stuff, we're gonna yank that. We're gonna make sure that everybody's getting the skills that they need and we're gonna group them based on that earlier stuff of who missed what. So if there's a group of kids that don't have blends, well, that'll be a group with Sherry. If a group doesn't have short vowels, they can be with Tracy. The homeroom teacher will take this group and we're gonna try to pinpoint what we're doing. And then when that 30 minutes is up, that's how the long lesson is. It's scripted, it's on there, so everybody's gonna teach it the same way. Kids will all have the same vocabulary all the way through. Tracy and Sherry will be using the same thing. When that's done, when they get done with that, then they'll read their story and then they're Into Reading book and they'll do the comprehension questions and the summaries and all the stuff the other skills they need of reading. But if they don't have those foundations and they can't decode fast enough, they can't do the comprehension stuff anyway. So that's what we're doing. And that is what I think is better work. It's what's gonna work to make that change, because, and that also will pinpoint our win time. So then in the afternoon, when we take kids again in the groups, Sherry and Tracy will know exactly what to do. And then in the bigger lens, you have the Act 20 stuff, which is pulling the kids, which is another data point. So when we write the plans, I will add all of that into that with, you get a plan right now, because it's the beginning, it just says you fly. But as this goes on and we do the weekly assessments of where kids are making progress, all of that will go together, hopefully, to pinpoint exactly what we're doing and have the results we want for kids. If it doesn't, you will see me banging my head against the wall, but it's been a lot of work with Tracy and Sherry. No, it's been a lot of work with, I should rephrase that. It's been a lot of help from Sherry, Katie, Kim has been involved in the conversations, all the teachers, we have talked about this. And it's the key that we're not doing anything wrong, we just think we can do it. UFly will allow us to do it better and faster for kids. And that's the hope. So that was today. So that's what, and we paid, everybody got a book and then get it. And I think it was for them to come, it was 800. It wasn't, I mean, it's not like $1,000. It isn't a $40,000 thing. It's $1,000 and this is where we're gonna go. And I wish it would pay off in February or March. It might start to pay off. It'll start to pay off at the end of this year, going into next year. So that's where we're at. Does that make sense?
It makes sense because I've seen it, so I understand, you know.
Yeah. It's intensive phonics instruction, so, and it fits exactly with the science of reading, that's all part of backbone. Sorry, that was longer than I meant to go.
Sure.
Go
You're just stealing
I
eyes
thought
and
you
thunder
started
here.
filming.
Nah, you can get out. You can do it.
All right. Few things amazing. We're at the end of the semester, so coming up, we have finals next week on Thursday and Friday. Within that, I think everybody knows each year I do senior exit interviews, so I'll start those here in the next couple weeks. I think it's a great opportunity to get feedback from kids academically, behaviorally, just culturally on everything, to really look at kind of what we're doing and get their thoughts as they go. So I'll start those soon. I had the Viola Sportsman's Club come in last week and approach me about the possibility of them putting on a program for the seniors, and they would like to see it be an annual thing. The Don't Be a Victim program, basically elements of when they go off to college or the workforce or whatever. So we talked through it a little bit, said I think it's best to send some curriculum so we can look through and see like what it is and what the training would be and how it would be. We look at it and assess it from there and go from there. And if it's something we feel could be really valuable for the kids, it's something we would do, but we're in the process of that. So just want people to be aware of that. As Kim indicated, with the changes in the maintenance staff, it's definitely been a learning curve for everybody, especially with the pool. There's a lot there. So trying to get everything set up and some of the changes with schedules and new people. I've now learned how to test the water in the pool, so I can do that. And just there's an element of making sure everybody's here to fill in with all the changes and making sure that things can go as smoothly as possible. So I think things are gonna go really well, but with anything with new changes, it's gonna take a little bit to get everything figured out, but I think it'll go really well. And the last thing we talked about last month, the program we got through CISA for the Spanish and the other classes. So we've actually got access to that now. So we're starting to look at that, not only for the Spanish, and Angela started to push some of the classes with some of the other kids, and there's definitely been some interest there. So I think it will be a positive thing to definitely get some use out of this program and the intent of what we did. So other than that, just to kind of hit on the camera thing that Kim said, that's been, Hunter came in to show me today and I was like, really? Like I was just, it was pretty amazing. I mean, the difference, the upgrade from what it was and the amount of time that it would take sometimes to try to figure things out compared to the new program is like snap your fingers quicker.
It's like a movie.
It
Like
is.
where you
I
can
mean,
zoom in on stuff and.
just, you know, there's things it can do, like, let's just say this room, like, and we knew something happened in here. I could click a button and on that button, it would show me when there was actually movement. So I wouldn't even have to focus on any timeline in there other than when it was green. And I could be like, okay, Earl just came in and took all the sausage. I know it was, he just took all the cheese and crack. I knew it was that. You wouldn't have to watch the whole,
Which is what we've
Timeframe.
had to do. sit
Yeah,
and watch.
which is, you'd have to sit and watch and go through and now you can, so it'll be definitely super beneficial and helpful. So anyway, and Hunter's awesome. It was good
Takes
to
very
see.
little. to
Hunter's
say
engaged now too.
Yeah.
So it's good to see Hunter. So anyway, that's what I have.
So most of these cameras all wireless then?
Well,
If you put one up in the playground or parking area, you got a one wire up there for that one, if you do that one then?
They are connected.
yeah, I was gonna say, they are connected.
They're cables or whatever.
Oh,
I mean,
so there's
whatever you
cables.
use. Yeah.
Don't have to be running, okay, I just.
So,
All right, thanks, guys. With that, we'll convene the closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.
Good.
what's in there?
Does that hire janitors?
All right, we're back in open session here. There's a motion that's coming out of closed session.
I make a motion we approve Troy Sedgwick as our buildings and grounds head maintenance position.
I'll second.
All in favor, roll call.
Janet Mathis,
Yes.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
and Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the administrator's contract rollers for the 24, 25, 26, and 26, 27 school years.
I'll second it.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Isaac.
She's not used to that.
That's all good.
I'll make a motion for the middle school head wrestling coach to approve Aaron Townsend as a coach, paid coach.
I'll second that.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yep.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
And I make a motion the middle school assistant girls basketball coach to be Sarah Ballard.
I'll second it.
That was your turn.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis, and Isaac Wallace.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one too. Look at that.
Car started?
Nice work, Isaac.
Thanks, Bo. Congratulations on the baby.
Hey, Bo.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye, Bo.
Lila says hi. Kim.
Oh, hi, Lila.